Hey everybody! Nice shot of my back. Hi, it's Gary Lucas, and thank you for joining me today for a special pre-holiday edition. I mean, we just got through with Hanukkah, and I duly commemorated that. But now Christmas is upon us, and I'll have a special Christmas Eve show on Thursday, where we'll dust off some old chestnut Christmas carols and whatnot. And, well, let's get right down to it for the moment. Okay, that was for Alice Coltrane. That's one of my favorite pieces by her from the Journey and Satchidananda album featuring Pharoah Sanders. And I posted the track last night, I'm sure, to get you in the mood, because it's a contemplative, it's a perfect piece for the end of the year. What a year. That was the year that was. Could it get any worse? I don't know. I don't think so. But I'm trying to stay abreast of the news, and the proliferation of a new mutant strain of the virus is certainly disconcerting. But what it all means, I don't know. I'm just rolling with it like everybody else. And I hope that the stimulus checks for all you Americans arrive really soon. Especially, we could use it around here. But as usual, Mitch McConnell and the party of Trump decided to short most needy Americans out in a big way. And this is to be rectified by Joe Biden as soon as he gets in office. God bless him. So saving Trump pulling some sort of absurd Hail Mary play at the end, such as fomenting civil unrest and then stepping in and declaring martial law, or maybe he's claiming that he's going to take an honorary third term because he did such a good job in the last 4 years. I think we're home free in a way, and looking forward so much to January 20th. And so what's going to be in your Christmas stocking? Here I'm switching to this Christmas mode. I don't want to shortchange Hanukkah, as I mentioned, or Eid, or any of the other festivus occurrences in this period, because there are many, depending on your system of beliefs or lack thereof. But I would like to highlight a few things I think are definitely worthy of your attention. I mentioned a great bookshop in New York that's recently relocated to Perry Street, right off 7th Avenue, Left Bank Books. And you can go there if you're going to be in New York, or if you're based here, and find all sorts of little knippels, which is Yiddish for treasures. Look what I just found the other day, yesterday. In fact, this is my friend Ed Sanders' book, Fug You, an informal history of the P-Side bookstore, the Fuck You Press, the Fugs, and counterculture at the Lower East Side. And this I got for the not expensive sum of $20, a first edition copy of this book. And Ed is is a pal. I've known him, well, I admired his work a lot with the Fugs growing up in the 60s. You may know them, and I post Wide, Wide River as much as possible and urge you to do the same, at least while we're still under the cloven hoof of Donald Trump. But yeah, he and Tuli Kupferberg and Ken Weaver primarily, but also, of course, my old friend Peter Stanfo and Steve Weber, and late Steve Weber, and all of the people who sailed with the Fugs over the years. I have a good friend down in D.C. Who plays with them. They put a very high quality amount of music out, and a lot of it, and they were actually signed to Warner Reprise label for a minute. And but they started on ESP Records, of which I could wax rhapsodic and apoplectic too, because while ESP signed all sorts of great stuff, alternative stuff in the 60s, they were not very circumspect about the payment of royalties to their artists, I know, from personal testimonies given me, but I won't belabor that here. But anyway, whatever Ed writes is always worth reading. He's a great guy, great poet, a great American visionary, stirrer-upper of stuff. And anyway, I heard from him the other day, and this will segue into my next recommendation. Now, we're coming on the anniversary of the death of Jonas Mekas, who started the Filmmakers Co-op on the Lower East Side and single-handedly pioneered American independent cinema, truly independent cinema. A lot of it New York City based, but many underground filmmakers, let's say, all over the world, and was a tireless advocate on their behalf, and wrote tremendous screeds all the time. He used to be a regular correspondent in the Village Voice. I know I read his column growing up. So last February, I think it was, shortly before lockdown, I was invited by the filmmaker and a friend, Chuck Smith, who you should definitely check Chuck's work out, to participate in a tribute to Jonas that was held at Anthology Film Archive over there at 2nd Street and 2nd Avenue, a great, great bastion of cinema in New York City. And I was on a bill with Ed Sanders, so it was great to reconnect with Ed, as well as Jim Jarmusch, who you all know, I'm sure, from his many fine films going way back, but most recently a vampire film, which I haven't yet seen, but I would like to. And some other great folks. So it was a pleasure there. I played to a film my friend Ken Jacobs had assembled of footage of Jonas. And I don't know if anybody filmed that, but I'd love to get a copy of that, because I improvised a score right there. But all this is to say that another recommendation for your holiday friends would be this great book that was put together by Chuck Smith, The Legend of Barbara Rubin, which is all about this legendary force of nature, Barbara Rubin, who was born in Queens and as a very young teenage girl started hanging around Jonas Mekas and got hired to work at the Filmmakers Cooperative, which was Jonas's main office and base for independent cinema in New York. And she connected the dots with so many people. You can see a picture of Barbara on the back of Bob Dylan's album, Bringing It All Back Home. She was kind of a muse to Dylan for a while. She also, through the auspices of Gerard Malanga, who was in Andy Warhol's circle, kind of discovered the Velvet Underground, walking into a tenement on the Lower East Side and hearing this music being made, and walking in on an early rehearsal of them. And she is the one who connected the Velvet Underground with Andy Warhol. And he came to see them when they had a residency in a club off 6th Avenue here. And the rest was history. So she was really involved in doing incredible connections with people. But she also did a pioneering film in independent cinema with a seasonal title of Christmas on Earth. Uh, the actual original title is, I'm no censor, but I'll save it as it's, it might be children watching here. But it was filmed in the apartment of John Cale and Tony Conrad, the filmmaker and musician, on Ludlow Street when they lived there. And it's basically, it was projected in black and white on two different projectors, with colored filters interrupting and distorting the frame at times, and you'd see films within films. So every time it was shown, it had kind of a different view. So it was one of the original multimedia works to come out of New York. Originally it had a soundtrack, I think, of rock radio at the time, just playing along with the screening of the film. I'd love to get my hands on it to do a live performance. And I discussed this with Chuck last year, but alas, it's not to be this year, but it's really good. So anyway, this book, The Legend of Barbara Rubin, really will tell you a lot more than I can share here, but she did so much for so many people. She also more or less single-handedly organized this International Poetry Festival at the Royal Albert Hall in 1966, which was memorialized in a great documentary film by Peter Whitehead, who did Tonight Let's All Make Love in London, and you should see this film. It's called Holy Communion. It's that Christmas theme again, but it's WHOLLY, Holy Communion. Fantastic footage of people like Allen Ginsberg and other poets who made this epic concert at Royal Albert Hall. And anyway, Barbara was the catalyst, and her end story is really tragic because she died at age 35 of breast cancer, as I recall. But she'd had a conversion into Orthodox Judaism and threw herself wholeheartedly into this and kind of renounced her former life. At one time, she told Jonas to destroy all copies of Christmas on Earth, but thankfully for us, he did not. Anyway, get The Legend of Barbara Rubin by Chuck Smith. Definitely worthwhile to pick up. And anyway, that connects those dots for a moment. So here I'm going to move to acoustic. Yes. All right. Some music by Nino Rota for the film Amarcord. I remember. And I remember so much. I remember too much. I like to forget. History is a Nightmare, from which I'm trying to awake. Pauche, James Joyce's Ulysses. So that about wraps it up for today. And I hope to see you on Thursday, which would be Christmas Eve. And until that time, stay safe, be well, wear those masks. And, oh yeah, big plug. Now, the all-seeing eye behind me is courtesy of my friend Robert Munn. Check out his work. He does 3D album covers in the lenticular format. And his website is www.depthography.com. That's DEPTHOGRAPHY, depthography.com. Beautiful work. And I'll show another one on Thursday. And until that time, love you guys. Thanks for tuning in. And I'll see you soon. Bye.